Hello, fellow educators. So today we are going to talk about the legal, ethical, and social issues of technology in the classroom and how we as educators can overcome these issues. So the first topic that we're going to be talking about are the legal issues. So this mostly refers to copyright. Copyright laws protects the works of authorship. It is essential to know what is and what is not copyrighted and how we can and cannot use it. Using copyrighted material without permission is unacceptable except when it comes to fair use, which fair use is defined as legal principle that provides certain limitations on the exclusive rights of copyright holders. So it protects materials used for class projects, research, and scholarship, and it does not apply to commercial purposes. So there are four factors for determining fair use. The first is the purpose of the work. What is the work being used for? If it's being used for nonprofit educational purposes, then it would favor fair use, compared to commercial ventures, which would not favor fair use. The nature of the work. Is it published or unpublished? If it's published, it is more likely to be seen as fair use. The third is the amount of work used. How much of the work is used? The less work used, the better. It is important to avoid using the heart of the author's work or the majority of the author's work. And the final factor is the use of the copyrighted work on the potential market. Will the copyright holder lose money from the use of the work? If you answer yes to this question, it is not fair. So here's a question you can answer to display your understanding of this concept. So another concept within legal issues is Creative Commons, and it is defined as provides several licenses to help creators of content license their work in ways consistent with their desires for openness. So there are four provisions: attribution, non-commercial, share alike, and no derivatives. As teachers and students, we can go to creativecommons.org to search for all media that we can use for multimedia projects and assignments. So here is a diagram of Creative Commons icons and their provisions. Now there are four provisions, but there are 6 different combinations that they can have, which can be seen here and their icons. So practical tips in the classroom to help with these issues. So we need to teach students how to properly cite and cite sources and force the habit by requiring them to cite their work with all assignments no matter what. And also we can promote creativecommons.org and Flickr because these sites aid teachers and students in finding media for projects and assignments that the students are going to be completing. So here's a poll just to see if you would be interested. So the second topic is the ethical issues of technology. So the main issue here is the digital divide, which refers to the gap that exists between those with ready access to information and communication technology tools and those without such access or skills to enable access. So it basically refers to the students who have access to technology and the skills to use them, and those who do not. There are 3 different levels of the digital divide, which can be shown in the figure here. The first level refers to the hardware, software, and internet access support for technology. So this refers to the student-to-computer ratios, teacher-to-computer ratios, internet access types, and the number of technical staff that the students and teachers have at the school. The second level is the use of technology by teachers and students. So how frequently the teachers and students are using the technology and for what purposes they are using that technology for. And the final level is the empowerment of students. So this refers to how the students are using technology to if they're using it to their to its full potential or not, and if it would be helpful for them in future technologically based fields in their career. So there are many different aspects that relate to digital divide, one being race. So there have been many studies that have shown that people of color often do not have access to a computer compared to those who are Caucasian. Here's a statistic that states white teens at 91% are the most likely to own a PC or desktop. Black teenagers own a laptop or a desktop at a rate of 79%. Therefore, because of their access to technology being lower and higher, results in studies show that white middle school students are performing significantly better on ICT-related tasks. Therefore, it is apparent that students' racial identity affects their digital use due to their cultural factors. Another aspect that relates to digital divide is socioeconomic levels. It is relatively stayed constant since 1995 that students in low-income families often do not have access to a computer. So this goes to show that minority children from families of lower socioeconomic status are less likely to attend schools that provide computer access in classrooms than children in the highest SES groups. Because of socioeconomic levels being apparent in geography, the high poverty urban school settings have less technology available to them compared to more affluent suburban schools. Another aspect of digital divide relates to gender. Adult females and males use internet for different purposes. Females use it for communication tools, whereas males use it for information, entertainment, and commerce. And according to studies, females appear to be more proficient ICT users compared to their male counterparts. This figure shows that Caucasian American children have been using computers longer than African American children, and males had been using computers longer than females. Here's a video that I recommend that you check out. It is regarding another aspect of digital divide of language, which is very interesting. So practical tips in the classroom to help overcome this digital divide. We need to recognize that all students have different access to technologies, and because we have this knowledge of this now, we can provide students with an optional after-school activity that accelerates their ICT literacy. And to make them prepared for technological-based careers, which is what we are preparing our students to do, we need to focus how we can help our students with the lesser access to technology compared to students who have a lot of access to technology. And also, studies show that males like to use technology as gaming. So educators need to incorporate aspects of gaming when teaching their content, which brings me to the collaboration section, where I'm asking you, how can educators incorporate gaming into teaching? So the last issues relate to social. So the first idea is the acceptable use policy. So this policy is used in every single school, and it is a written agreement that is signed by students, parents, and teachers that outlines the terms and conditions of school-based internet use. So usually at the beginning of the school year, it goes home so parents can sign it and students can sign it to agree to this policy. Now, each school district has an AUP, and it usually can be found on their website. So for our school in Wicomico County, I took a look at that and saw that it was broken down into categories. These categories range from talking about how WCBOE will not mandate that students and staff provide their own technology at school, and school-owned devices may not utilize WCBOE network, and how this policy will be communicated to all students, parents, employees, and other users of WCBOE technology. Now you are able to check out the whole policy here as a PDF. And here is an audio that is by Joseph Brines, and he suggests ways to balance protecting students, teachers, and schools from the dangers of the internet while still integrating technology into the curriculum. And he refers to AUP a lot, so I definitely recommend you checking out this short clip of his podcast. And I put in the link to his almost hour-long podcast if you're interested in listening to that. It's very beneficial for us as educators to hear what other educators have to say about this topic. And now another issue regarding social aspect is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is the bullying that takes place over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. Now, there are many different types of cyberbullying. There's flaming, which is sending angry and vulgar text. There's harassment, which is sending messages to a person repeatedly. There's denigration, which is sending or posting harmful and untrue information. There's cyberstalking, using threats of harm and intimidation. Impersonation is pretending to be another person. Trickery is tricking a person into sending embarrassing information. And finally, exclusion, which is excluding someone purposefully. So cyberbullying can cause students to have physical, emotional, psychological, social, and academic problems. And as educators, we need to be aware of the warning signs that they might have, like many unexcused absences, increases/decreases in use of their devices, and if the student hides devices when others come near, including adults. Now, there are many eye-opening statistics on cyberbullying, like how it is estimated that 20 to 40% of youth will be affected by cyberbullying in some way during adolescence. And 9% of students in grades 6 through 12 experience cyberbullying. 15% of high school students were electronically bullied in the past year. However, 55.2% of LGBTQ students experience cyberbullying. So this statistic really shows that specific groups, including LGBTQ, can be targeted, and as teachers, we need to recognize this. Now, this figure shows that Facebook and mobile communication devices were the most prevalent means of cyberbullying, as well as the use of cell phones. Here's a very important site for teachers and parents to be aware of. It's stopbullying.gov, and you can view traditional bullying as well as cyberbullying, prevention, and resources. So I would definitely check that out. And practical tips for cyberbullying and AUP. In terms of the AUP, teachers need to be able to explain to parents and students as well as school administrators how them and their students will be using the technology in the classroom. So the students and parents are informed. In terms of cyberbullying, as educators, we need to create an environment encouraging warmth and respect and respond quickly when bullying occurs. Educators also need to be familiar with popular social media apps and learn how to use them. So when you're talking to these students, you can be accurate and credible in what you say. This is a resource for teachers for grades like 1 through 5, and it is a book that you can either read to the class or it can be an individual assignment about cyberbullying. And it comes with a lesson plan here. So that is something that you can definitely check out in case you want to talk about that with your students. And here's another video that I recommend you checking out. It's a documentary on cyberbullying that I definitely recommend you watching, and it is also possible that you can show it to your students to get them to know how big of an issue this is. So thank you guys for watching this screencast on these issues in the classroom. You can reach me at the email address provided here. I will also put the link of the Nearpod in the YouTube channel so you can take a look at this Nearpod as much as you want. Thanks again.